All right, so I wanted to cover like a bit of why James Carville might be right for for the politicians, but he's not going to really be really correct on much else, right? Um, so for those who don't know, Gavin Newsom started grifting to the right. Um, and his approval numbers all went down, right? Like even further, right? And the reason for that is that the online grift, like with YouTube, doesn't work in real life. It only works on like social media, right? Social media isn't a real fucking place. It's like one thing, right? Like most of your interaction on social media is going to be bots, and then you might get like some non-Americans or edgy leftists usually, right? And then if you're like Ben Shapiro or like Steven Crowder, you'll have some actual right wingers in your audience. But the vast majority of people, it's like disenfranchised or edgy leftists, and like people who aren't from the United States. Now, disenfranchised slash edgy leftists taking right wing approaches in politics tends to not be a winning move with them, right? Because they're still left wing. They're just like saying whatever, right, on your video, but most of them don't care. Like Asmongold is an example of an edgy leftist, right? Like he doesn't fucking care about like be like transphobic policies, but like he'll make a joke about it, sure, but he's not going to want to pass any actual transphobic legislation. Now, this is a politician, right? Remember, politicians uh, pass laws, right? So there's a big difference between politicians passing laws and people like saying things on the internet because they think it's edgy or funny, right? There's a big difference. A lot of those jokes people don't actually want to be put into law. Now, for the trans sports thing, possibly, right? But that's not really all Gavin Newsom was doing. And right, he's like predicting like more Dems will follow. But the thing is, that's the least of Democrats' problems, right? Uh, like 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 it's been like the biggest problem with Democrats, right? Was never the pro trans shit. It was always like it was always like the NIMBYism, right? Where they're like, like a good way to say it, right? Gavin Newsom would say he supports homeless people, and then he would be the one to put all those homeless, like anti-homeless benches up, right? Yeah, I like homeless people. That's why I want to make them live like shit, right? That's Gavin Newsom. So the idea that okay, well, this guy was always phony, right? And it didn't even work out for him, right? Because the Republicans saw the grift. Because it turns out that they only don't see the grift if it's like an entertainment like platform. They'll absolutely see the grift if it's real, right? And that's really the issue with like a lot of the politics stuff. If they can tell you you're dishonest, especially with Newsom, who's been dishonest before, they don't like you because that's really what it comes down to. And notice populist candidate like Bernie is far more popular with conservatives than Gavin Newsom, right? Bernie hasn't really like been like against trans stuff, right? But Bernie has talked to people, right? That's the difference, right? Gavin Newsom wants to keep all the rich fucks, liking him, but the poor fucks are the ones that vote him in, right? So like that's really the issue, right? Like he's thinking, well, he can just pull through propaganda, but propaganda doesn't work um, too much. A lot of that money is drying up, right? Like people say it's a woke stuff. Like the DEI, I'd argue, isn't even really like left wing propaganda. If it is, it's very ineffective at it, right? Because like, oh yes, let's have the bullshit stereotypes we all were against like 10 years ago in movies and games again. But like now, like it's the left doing it, so we're all for it apparently. It was always just the fakeism behind it, right? So anyway, let's have this guy run his old mouth, you know.
Would you say no men in female sports?
Well, I think it's an issue of fairness. I completely agree with you on that. It is an issue of fairness.
So
it's deeply unfair.
Would you speak?
That's a view that most Americans have. I'm not that big into the state track meet, but if athletic administrators can figure this out, it's not
Oh yeah, no, I agree with this thing, but my thing is that's not why people like Gavin Newsom are less popular anyway, right? This is why like you go out, you talk to the average person, like Bernie does, right? And you can have like these views that Bernie has and still be more popular than a lot of like pretty much everyone else in the Democratic Party. And it's purely look, all Bernie had to do was go out to a town like a town in Wisconsin. It's very right wing, but it's full of poor people, right? So he went to a poor right wing town. Guess what? Everyone loved him. Because that's ultimately the thing, right? He talked to the commoners. That's all he had to do was talk to the commoners. Imagine that.
Great issue to me. I'm James Carville. I'm a retired international political consultant and a retired college professor.
Like these guys are like, we're gonna have all these strategies and stuff. How have you tried talking to people like on the street? Right? That's what Trump did. That's what Bernie's doing, right? Like guys that are popular, right? Have you tried doing that?
80 years old, and I still enjoy stirring the pot and being around.
That's ultimately like what a lot of people want. Hey, why aren't you talking to me? It's been like why aren't you talking to me, Mayor of L.A., who these fires are even being seen from outer fucking space, and you're not answering any questions about it? Hey, why aren't you talking to anyone, right? Hey, Eric Adams, why aren't you talking to people about the fact that a homeless woman was set on fire and people are so desperate for a dub against the authoritarian regime you run in New York City that they are simping for an Italian guy who shot up a healthcare CEO? Hey, guy, can you answer some? Oh, no. That's really what it comes down to. People aren't even willing to talk to people unless they're donors. And people aren't liking that. And that's why like a lot of these guys are going to lose. It's not anything about like their policy even. A lot of people supported their policies for a while, right? Like even now, like a lot of these policies, people will still like this one, maybe not, but a lot of the others they still support. But then they're going away, right? Why is it that that's happening? Well, it turns out that talking to people makes you more popular with the voters. As it turns out, all you really got to do is talk. And I mean, like physically, right? Like doing this podcast shit isn't talking to people. I mean, Trump didn't get popular off podcast on Joe Rogan, right? That didn't diminish his like perception, right? But that's not how he got more popular. I mean, sure, Joe Rogan didn't really hurt his experience either, but him talking to people on the street, all those rallies and stuff, he wasn't just doing them, wasn't just doing them in swing states, and he wasn't just doing them in rich areas. That's ultimately the thing, right?
Politics. That's about who I am. We took on a lot of a lot of water for something we weren't going to. It wasn't popular. People didn't want to do it. And if you think the issue is that important, then you got to convince people. Right now, 68% of the people don't want to have this thing in athletics.
Yeah, but like you might know that Democratic politicians might know that, right? But do they know like what it's like to struggle to pay bills in the house? Have you talked to anyone about that? I know Kamala didn't. That's why she's out, right?
Allowing a biological male to compete against a female athlete.
Like, if you need strategists to talk to people, that's already why your party's losing. Trump doesn't have strategists talk to people. He does it himself, right?
It would not have the same kind of build or physical abilities is completely unfair and unsafe for women.
And they're telling people, we got to be courageous and be for this. Why don't you change public opinion and win an election, and then you might be able to achieve your goal. But right now, the public doesn't want it, and you're asking Democrats to do this.
When you come in and you say, oh, these are men, competing against women, you're assuming that the women are weak and just can't do anything except be here.
All you're doing that are going to change in the short term for sure, and all you're doing is helping the opposition. Actually, it's a run track. So I watched it. And
I mean, to be fair, like I feel like anything on The View is just like no one likes that anymore. As soon as they start saying it, I'll be honest. Like as soon as The View says something, like the public perception just is whatever that isn't, right?
The A track B.
I mean, maybe like people were like 99% like pro trans women in trans sports, right? But like it dropped down to like 2 because Whoopi Goldberg did that, and no one likes The fucking View. I'll be honest, like that might be like the thing. Like The View talked about it positively, so everyone hates it now.
I never think about
I
it.
fucking hate The View. If you can't tell,
It doesn't cross my mind. But and I don't think there needs to be.
but see, like look at this. See, these are little kids and their families, right? And like not all of these are even necessarily voters. These are just people he's talking to. Like he's going out to places and seeing people. Like this might look like it's his desk. This isn't just his like the White House, right? He's going out and talking to all of these people. That's all you got to do. He's like literally Bernie, very opposite views, right? Goes to a conservative district even. Right? Like most of the people are red voters, right? For Republicans. A lot of MAGA too. And then he just goes there and then he has the same reactions that they're having here. It's almost as if like talking to people and being a populist is better than being an elitist. Imagine that. Imagine that. Just don't give people hope and they might vote for you. This is hopium, right? You know what isn't hopium? This, right? It's like it's not even that. But like I disagree with the position. I've already like said trans women shouldn't be in women's sports because when it comes to sports itself, there's biological advantages that need to be taken. Like maybe chess, right? But outside chess, any contact or like physical sport, right? So racing, boxing, football, etc., right? Chess, I'm like I don't really fucking care. Like it's chess. A woman grandmaster isn't worse than like a male not a male master, right? A woman grandmaster, there might be fewer women grandmasters. The best woman grandmaster might not be able to beat the best male grandmaster. But the idea of a woman grandmaster losing to like a weaker player consistently, it's bullshit, right? Like that's how like the thing is. Women grandmasters often play with men anyway, right? Because it's not just the tournaments. They also have to play with men, like, online and stuff, right? Because chess is more of a mental thing, right? And mentally, while male and women brains work differently, it's not anywhere near as much of an advantage necessarily in any real, like, mental field compared to, the physical ones, where there's some big differences, like combat, sports, and running and all that, right? Men have advantages there. They're just inherent. So yeah, biological men, right, whether trans women or just cis men, should not be in women's sports. Absolutely. And same with, like, biological women, shouldn't be in men's sports either, right? But yeah, like, the reason why, right, I am against this is, look at this. Who is here, right? Look at this. Right? All those families. Right? All those families. Look at this. Where's the families, right? So Trump is going around and having a ton of, people, like, talking to families and kids and all that, right? This guy is sitting on a couch talking to a rich guy. That's the difference. Do you think all of these kids and moms are rich as fuck? No, half these people are dirt poor too. That's the real difference, right? Now, maybe this guy talks to poor people, but this guy isn't this guy, right? This guy is the one running for the election. Now, is this guy, right, talking to these women and their kids and possibly some adults somewhere, like adult men and boys somewhere eventually? I don't know. I guess what? It's a woman's issue primarily, and he invited all women to the conversation. Remember, like, how, like, everyone was criticizing, like, the Republican elite a few years ago on, like, inviting just men to, like, their, like, women's rights things. Look at that. It's a woman's, like, complaint, and everyone's a woman or a girl, right? It's almost as if, like, Trump is speaking to people who the issue affects on the issue, and this guy is speaking to some random rich dude. Imagine that. Like, it's almost as if people aren't even really caring that much about the policy, as much as they are caring about the fact that this guy is talking to them. And that's ultimately the issue here, right? Democrats are like, we gotta just talk to rich fucks. Now we just gotta talk to rich conservative fucks, right? That'll help us. No, you talk to actual voters like this. That's why you lost. And that's why it'll continue to lose no matter what positions you have. Because it's not even just the positions. It's the fact that you don't talk to voters. Hey, look at that. Trump's in a room full of voters and would-be voters. Right? That's how you get people on your side.
Solution to this.
Actually, like, treating the people who vote
how
like people.
Many athletic administrators are there in the United States?
That's all you had to do. That's why the Democrats keep losing, right? That's why Bernie is, like, the only Democrat with a positive approval rating right now, right?
I guarantee.
And it's purely because Bernie's also willing to just go out and talk to people.
100,000.
That's really ultimately the reason why Democrats are failing. Yeah, I'm sure, like, there's a lot of people who are concerned about this one trans issue. And, maybe they should, move. I think they should too. But that's not just because of politics. It's because, like, there's actual, like, things wrong with it, in my opinion, If you got a biological advantage, physical, like, sports, right, there's a big difference there.
Yeah, that state athletic association, the football association, that's not a legislative issue. It's an issue for the associations. We don't.
But the thing is, right, while he's right here. The real issue is, look at this. And then you look at the Trump. Let's see if I can find. Oh, this is just new articles. Never mind. But like, if you look at the Trump's part in this article, right? Again, like are we acting like these are the same picture? Are we? I'm not. Because ultimately, this is a big difference to me. Look at that. A woman's rights issue. Every single person besides the person who is president is a woman or a girl. It's almost as if he's talking to people who are affected by things. And he's talking to poorer people. And he's talking to just genuine people. Imagine that. This whole crowd of people who are genuinely affected by this issue versus a rich white guy who doesn't have to worry about this at all. It's not about appealing to right-wingers. It's about appealing to voters and people. Democrats, yeah, just need to fucking get some fucking common sense. Like, yes, it's of the people, by the people, for the people. Guess who won? The people. I don't really even like a lot of Trump's policies, but I understand why he won, and this is why. Because he'll go out there and talk to someone. He'll go out there and talk to me, even. I might not like what he says, but he'll at least talk to me. And that's a big difference between this guy and this asshole. So yeah.